Hello and good evening or good morning or good afternoon or whatever the time may be where you are. I am in Paderborn, Germany, and this is the monthly live stream of the Study Service Computer Science at Paderborn University. My name is Harald Selke, as you can read here. And we're doing these live streams each and every month on the third Thursday each month. So unless it's a public holiday or I'm on for some reason, I can't do it, but usually that's the date where we do this. We have another live stream also, which is in German and which is directed at the bachelor program. That's always on the first Thursday each month. So if you want to tune into that one, you might consider going there and then ask your questions there about the bachelor program. But tonight we'll concentrate on the master program. And we're doing everything in English because our master program is in English because we have so many international students here with us. So that's just the natural way to do it, I think. All right, so what's the plan for tonight? I'm going to talk a little bit about our master program. I'll be talking, of course, you're welcome to ask your questions or make any comments or whatever you want, as long as it's somewhat related to what we're doing here and it's decent. So just comment in right beneath or beside this video if you have some questions or if there's anything you want to tell us, even if it's just a short hello. You can also do that, of course. Always keep in mind that everything you post here is publicly viewable, of course, and so can be seen by anybody and will also remain online after this live stream has ended, because we're keeping those live streams at least for a month, at least for a couple of weeks until the next live stream of the master program will be. So right now also the live stream I did a couple of weeks ago is still online, but that will be removed, or it will not really be removed, but it will no longer be listed. So people might still access it, but they usually can't find it if they haven't bookmarked it before. So, and this live stream will also be online then. We'll be doing another live stream in 4 weeks from now. That's I think it's 4 weeks from now. So the third Thursday in August. That should then be something like, I'll just check the date before I say something wrong here. That should then be on the 20th of August. That would be the Thursday, yes, exactly, 20th of August. That will be another live stream then for the master program, and that will be the last one before we start the winter semester, which our semesters always start in October and in April, 1st of October and 1st of April. And so in September and in March, we are not doing these live streams. Apart from that, every month, and as I said, usually on the third Thursday each month. And they're always announced on this YouTube channel, so just look into here or hit that notification bell button, whatever, so that you get a notification when there is a new live stream coming up, if you want to follow us and if you want to keep yourself informed. So that would be a good idea, I guess. Yeah, so in August, as I said, that will be the last opportunity before the winter semester starts. So probably it would be an interesting live. If for example, you have applied with us and maybe even have been accepted already for our master program for the upcoming winter semester. As I said, 1st of October will be the start of the semester. That's not the start of the lectures, I should tell you that. Can talk about that in a moment. So if anybody is out there who has been accepted already or wants to start with us in the winter semester, application phase has already passed the final date for applying. But if you have applied and are still waiting for the response, takes a little time, unfortunately, because we have so many applications. We have more than 1,000 applications for the winter semester in computer science alone. On the 20th of August, that would be your last opportunity before coming here, if you will be coming to start studying here with us in October. So it might be a good idea to tune in then if you're just not here today, and if you see this after the fact, once we have finished this one. All right. Apart from that, maybe one important bit of information for those people who have applied already and have been accepted or will be accepted for winter semester. The winter semester always starts on the 1st of October. The lectures will only start on, I think it's the 13th of October, 12th or 13th, whatever the Monday is in that week. Saturday and Sunday is always no university, so we always start on a Monday, and then university lectures and so on and so forth run through Monday through Friday, and then so the first, so 12th of 13th of, or 12th or 13th of October, whatever that Monday may be, is the first date of lectures. But if you plan to start with us in the winter semester, there's an absolutely strong recommendation to be here at least a week before that, at the latest by the 8th of October, because on the 8th and 9th of October we will have our welcome days, where we introduce you to our program. You will get to learn, get to know lots of other people, like myself, for example, in person, and some of your lecturers already, and some other people who will support you through your studies here, because once you are here at Paderborn, we won't leave you alone. There's quite a few things how we can support you. We will introduce you to the master program in detail, so we will explain to you how to choose your courses, what you need to, what deadlines you need to observe, and what exactly you need to do in order to, at some point at least, finish your master and for the first, in the first place, of course, get your master program started. So how to pick courses, what exactly you need to do, what you need to consider when picking courses, and so on and so forth. So all of these things will be discussed during those 2 days. Or there will also be a bit of socializing, so that you get to know the other students who start along with you. You'll get to know our mentors, who will also be there, not just during the welcome days, but during the whole course of your program. So whenever there's any irritation coming up, any problem coming up, there's 2 students that we have as mentors. There's students from higher semesters, both from India, by the way, and yeah, they will be there for your questions and for all kinds of support. And whenever they can't help you for some reason, then they will usually know who to ask. Probably us at the study service, for example, or maybe other people, or we will get you into contact in contact with other people who can then hopefully help you with any questions that you might have. So you'll not be alone when you're here, but it's very important to be here for the welcome days, because there you'll learn all about the support structures, about the program itself, and so on and so forth. So a strong recommendation really is try to be here ideally a week before lectures start. So that would then mean like the first weekend in October, if you can come on the weekend, so the 3rd or 4th of October, or 5th at the latest. That would be a good idea. So try to make your travel arrangements in that way. Another question that we often get asked is, how late can I come? So if you can't make it for some reason, you can't make it for the start of the term, so can't be here for the first lectures, then there might be some kind of hard deadline, but I'm not aware of the exact date for that. But in general, you can say that the later you arrive at Paderborn, the harder it will be for you to accomplish anything in the first semester. Because usually in our lectures, we have something called a course achievement in most lectures. And the course achievement is usually done by handing in weekly assignments. And if you miss the first 4 or 5 or even 6 weekly assignments, so if you come, as I said, 12th of October, the semester will start, and if you only come by end of October, you might still get into the course. Technically, you can always get into the course, but of course you need to make up for all the lectures you have already missed, and also of the assignments and so on and so forth. And the later you come, so if you come like in mid of November only, or even later than that, then it will be very, very hard to really manage this course. On the one hand, because probably you won't be able to catch up with the course achievement, because usually for the course achievement you have to do, as I said, these weekly assignments in most courses, and there you'll have to, and by the end of the semester you'll have to have a certain amount of those will be graded, so you get points for them, and usually you need some kind of percentage of the maximum achievable points. And the later you come, the less assignments you took, of course, then you will have to have even more points. So you basically have to do everything correct in the second half of the semester if you miss the first half, basically, or something like that. So that will be very, very hard. And of course, you need to consider that there's a lot of content has already been taught to you during those first weeks, and you need to make up for that as well, because otherwise you won't be able to do the assignments anyway, and you'll probably also have a hard time in taking part in the exam, let alone get a good grade in any exam. So always the recommendation, come as early as you can. I know that's sometimes difficult or sometimes even impossible because of visa regulation and so on and so forth. But in general, as I said, there may be some late deadline until when you can arrive. But in general, I would say if you come later than 4 weeks after the semester start, then don't expect to be that you will be able to complete any courses in your first semester here with us. So just keep that in mind, that your first semester it's not really lost in that sense. It's lost in terms of studying probably, but it's not really lost because of course you can still come here and learn things without taking exams, because you can still take part in the courses, but you won't be allowed into the exam maybe, or you won't stand a chance in the exam. But you can still go there and try to learn something. And of course, you can also learn how to find your way around Germany, how to find your way around Paderborn, and so on and so forth, around the university and everything. So don't come too late. And if you can't make it, if you really can only come very, very late, then my strong recommendation would be to consider a deferral, which is very easy to do. So once you have been accepted into our program, you will remain accepted. So we won't throw you out if you don't come for the winter semesters. Let's assume you have been accepted for the winter semester and you decide not to come. Then you can simply send an email to our international office. The international office is that's the people who will send you the official letter of acceptance and everything. So they are your primary contact there, and then you'll simply send them an email and say, I won't be coming for the winter semester, but I'd like to defer my studies, the start of my studies, until the summer semester. And then that's all you need to do. And when summer semester comes near, then of course you need to arrange everything by that point in time, so that you can get enrolled into the university and all the other steps that are necessary, like you, for example, getting your visa and all of those things. So deferral, very, very easy, no hassle there. Simply send an email to the international office and everything is good to go. All right. So as I said, if there's any questions, just post them in the comment box here and I'll try to address them as soon as possible. Apart from that, I will today not talk too much about what to observe, unless you ask, of course. Talk about what you need to consider when starting your studies, or how to prepare for getting here to Paderborn, for example. As I said, unless you ask questions in that direction, then of course I'm perfectly willing to answer those questions. Apart from that, I would rather then concentrate on the next application phase, because while we are still reviewing the applications for the winter semester, of course the applications are already have the phase of applications has already started for the next summer semester, starting in April. So and I would like to address some points there, because it's very important, because we always, each and every semester, we receive a lot of applications that we have to reject simply because of formal reasons, because some very important document is missing. And this is something that we have published on our website. It's explicitly stated there which documents exactly you need. But there's one crucial thing that many people seem to miss, and that's why I want to emphasize how important that is to send that, because it's more than 50% of the students of the applications we receive. Not of the applications we receive, but 50% of the applications that are rejected. More than 50% of those make one single mistake why they are rejected from us. They might be accepted in other universities, but I can only speak for our university, Paderborn University, why we reject many of those applications. All right. So I'd like to talk a little bit about the prerequisites, what exactly is necessary, what kinds of documents you need, and so on and so forth. So this next information is basically, or the main part of tonight will be information for people who are planning to apply with us. application deadline is 30th of November, so there's still plenty of time, which is why it is important to do this quite early, because then you can maybe still get those documents that you need until the application phase runs out and or the application deadline comes around. And that's why it's important to address these things early on. So, all right. The important thing is, while the checks may seem pretty rigorous to you, and that's for a reason, because we think it would, and we sometimes receive, after somebody has been rejected, we receive emails asking for a re-evaluation. You can trust us, we're usually pretty good at it, so usually we don't make any mistakes. Of course, you can always say, I wish a reassessment, because sometimes we do make mistakes, but it's really, I can promise you that, it's really very rare, because we have quite a good system here in place that makes sure that we don't make too many mistakes. Sometimes we do make a mistake, but in general, I would say we're pretty good at that, at not making mistakes. I mean, not good at making mistakes. All right. So, there's a couple of pretty strict regulations there, and we can't do much about those because we're really bound by those. They are written rules written down for us, and so we can't simply deviate from them. But that's only one point here, and the more important point here is that we want to make sure that we believe that you have a chance of succeeding here. Because personally, I think it would be pretty unfair if we just accepted you, although from judging from your course of studies in your bachelor program, we would already say, yeah, that person will probably never complete the master program here because there's too many things lacking, which we expect that students know after having completed the bachelor program. So this background check on your on your computer science background, that's the most important thing we have. There are a couple of formal things as well, or semi-formal, because they're also content, and there's a reason for them, and that also has to do with the ability to study, and in particular to study in a master program. And of course, we want to make sure that you really have a good chance. We want to be convinced, we want to believe that you will have a chance completing your master program here, because we could simply accept you, and then we could say, yeah, all right, we have lots of students, and that's great for us, regardless of whether people stand any chance of completing the program. But for you, of course, there's a lot of risk involved, because if you come here, you spend a lot of money, you leave your home country just to come here, and then you'll find out after some time, maybe after 2 years, maybe after 3 or 4 or 5 years, because everything went too slowly for you here, and then you're stuck here and you can't complete your master program, and then you've invested quite a lot of energy, quite a lot of money maybe also, and then that would be pretty unfair if we just lured you into our university, although we already were pretty convinced that you won't stand a chance to complete the master program here with us. So that's why we are pretty strict with those, or have pretty high entry prerequisites. Because then we believe, at least we think, that we pick the right people in that sense, that if you are accepted into our program, then that you really will stand a good chance. Because we had less strict regulations in the past, like a couple of years ago, like 7 or 8 years ago. It's already been quite a while that we have the regulations just as they are right now, so we usually don't change them very much from year to year. But a couple of years ago, like 7 or 8 years ago, we really had the problem that we had a lot of students here who really struggled, and many of them never completed the program at all, which is also not a good thing for them, I would say. It's not that bad for us, because our university, we are still working, but for those people it's sometimes pretty bad. So that's why we do these checks for everything, basically, and there's the detailed information that's also linked below this video. Below this video, there's quite a few links, and you might want to click through them, or at least have a look at them, browse through them, and see whether there might be some information that you think might be useful for you. And in particular, if you plan to apply, please read this text on this excuse me, on this website that I've written down here. And as I said, there's the link below this video as well. And basically the same text is also on the DAAD website. So if you read the text on the DAAD website, you're also fine. Because all of the rules and regulations are written down about the application are also written down there, so you can read everything there as well. And yeah, just take that into consideration and take it seriously what we are writing there, because there's all the prerequisites are mentioned there. So the first thing that we always check is whether you have a bachelor program in computer science or in a comparable bachelor program. What does comparable bachelor program mean? Yeah, well, sometimes your program maybe has a different name, but it's pretty close to computer science. Like, for example, it might be computer science and engineering. It might be computer engineering. It might be information technology. It might be software engineering. Though software engineering, we rarely accept applications from people with software engineering because they usually lack in most programs. It's different from university to university, but in most programs they lack some of those prerequisites listed here specifically, because those are, we don't look for the title of the program you have been studying, whether it's information technology, computer science, data science, software engineering, whatever. We don't look, the title is not the interesting thing for us, but we look into each and every application, and that's why it takes some time, because we really have to look into all of your transcripts. And then we check for background in certain areas of computer science. And that's, on the one hand, that's software engineering. So that's not programming. We're expecting every student to be able to program. So if you come to us with a bachelor program, with a bachelor degree in computer science, we assume that you are somewhat good at programming. Otherwise, you will run into deep trouble here. I can promise you that. So definitely make sure that you are quite good in programming. That's also always important. But we don't check for that, because in every bachelor program, in the computer science related or comparable bachelor program, there will be enough programming courses in there, so that in theory at least you can and should have learned it during your bachelor program. Of course, we know that this is not always true, that people really have learned it. They might have passed the courses, but don't really know how to program. And that holds for our own students as well. There are people who just come through those programming courses because they somehow managed, but they really aren't good at programming or can't really program at all. And those people will usually run into serious trouble in the master program. So definitely make sure that you can do that. But this is something which kind of like goes without saying, that you need this background. Software engineering is more than that. Like, for example, you would have probably in most programs, again, like computer science and engineering, computer engineering, data science, software engineering, of course, as well. You will have courses like, for example, software engineering. You will have things like compiler construction, for example, databases. Those would all be fields that run into the software engineering courses that we count towards software engineering. Then there's theoretical computer science, and I'll talk about that in a little more detail in a moment, because that's where the most confusion happens. It seems, and that's also where most of the problems arise, because in many programs, and that's why I just said that quite often, in fact, we don't accept students who have a bachelor degree in software engineering or have one in data science, for example, because they quite often lack the background in theoretical computer science. Again, we check each and every application individually, so in your university things may have been different. In the specific program you studied, and then of course we will notice that because we look into your specific transcript and not in some kind of general regulations that have been published on some website. We really look into your personal transcript and then check exactly what the situation is. Same goes for technical informatics. Technical informatics is what we call it, and it's in other places it's sometimes also called computer engineering. Computer engineering is for us, and you can check for example, the ACM website for what they understand in the computer engineering, and what we understand is pretty much the same as they do. So ACM and IEEE, for example. And you can also check the Wikipedia article on computer engineering, for example, and you'll find the same information there. So that's kind of like the more system level programming, for example, like operating systems, networking technologies, and those kinds of stuff. And also the hardware side, so like the digital design, computer architecture, and things like that, networking. Those are the areas that we count towards technical computer science. IT security sometimes does count, but that depends very much. Quite often it doesn't, because IT security can be taught in very, very different ways, and that is often taught in very different ways at different universities. Then you'll need a background in mathematics, mathematics of computer science to be specific here, but any mathematics courses basically will count. And there's basically three areas that should have been covered, apart from the fact that it should be 15 credits. I'll come to the credit conversion in a moment. So 15 credits in mathematics, and the areas we have are linear algebra. The second area is calculus, and the third one is statistics or stochastics, or probability theory, things like that. Those are the three things that you really need, because linear algebra is, for example, if you want to do anything with computer graphics, for example, or anything with 3D, you're always there. So you always need linear algebra, and also in many other areas as well, but in those ones, just some examples where you need it. Calculus is also important because we need that for analysis, for example, performance analysis, and also for lots of theoretical stuff. Calculus is needed. So that's the second thing. And statistics, probability theory, and stuff like that, combinatorics. Those are things which are of absolute importance if you want to go into any area which is related to data, into any course or area that is related to data science or to machine learning, for example. There's also linear algebra, sometimes also calculus, but in particular linear algebra, and very specifically probability theory, statistics, and those kinds of things. Those are absolutely at the core of, so data science and machine learning are very, very much mathematics, to be honest. Many people don't expect that for some reason, but it really is. You really need a strong background in mathematics if you want to go into those areas. Also, by the way, if you want to go into optimization, for example, that's also something where you need quite a bit of of mathematics background. So before I delve into the aspects of what theoretical computer science is, maybe just one word or a couple of words regarding the number of credits. We always, those credits are the credits in the German system. And in the German system, each semester contains 30 credits. So basically, and our bachelor programs are 6 semesters long, so we have 180 credits, but that's not so important. The important thing is 30 credits in each semester, or 60 per year, you could also say. So if in your university, you have, like, for example, 20 credits each semester on average. We always look at the average value. So if you have an 8-semester program, for example, and you have 160 credits, and then you would have 20 credits per semester, or 40 per year. And in that case, we would apply a factor of 1.5, because 20 times 1.5 is our 30. If you have at your university it's 15, for example, then of course we would apply a factor of 2. So if you would have to have 10 credits of your university in software engineering, 10 credits in theoretical computer science, 7.5 in technical informatics or computer engineering, and 7.5 credits in basic mathematics of computer science. As I said, if the total of the average amount of credits you have in one semester is 15, and if it's if the average is 20, of course there's only a factor of 1.5 and not a factor of 2 involved there. So that's important to keep in mind, that we always apply a conversion factor, and we always do that. So there's no need to tell us that we should do it, or that you think we have calculated something in the wrong way. We always do this calculation. That's always included. So that's with regards to the credits that we have. All right. So As I said, the major problem in that sense, I mentioned that there's this one reason which I haven't yet talked about, a rather formal one, why we reject many people. And the second most important factor in why we reject applications is that there is not enough theoretical computer science in the bachelor program of that particular applicant. And then there's quite a lot of confusion often because what is understood as being theoretical computer science seems to be very different in some countries, I would say. But it's pretty clear. So you can check, again, the ACM or IEEE curricula, for example, for computer science programs, and there you'll find a pretty good description. You can also check the Wikipedia website for computer science or for theoretical computer science. And with one exception, and that is compiler construction, we are exactly in line with them. Compiler construction for us, because usually compiler construction is much more the practical side. It's not so much on the theoretical side. There is a little bit of grammars and regular expressions and so on and so forth involved, but not as much as we expect it to be. And so it's only a minor part these theoretical aspects are only a minor part of a compiler construction course. And so that's why we usually don't count those. If you have a compiler construction course and believe that is so theoretical that we should recognize it, then please make sure that you include a link or ideally a copy of the module description of that, or the course description of that particular course, and then we can check that and see whether it meets our definition of theoretical computer science. But in general, topics of theoretical computer science, as I said, you can read that up in the Wikipedia as well, in the corresponding article. Those are the topics we expect to have been dealt with in your courses, and dealt with means that a course can only count if it really concentrates on this. So it doesn't help if there's at some point in time there's mentioned that by the way, there is something like a Turing machine or something like that, there is. You can show that there are undecidable languages, and you can show that by a diagonalization, for example. No, that's not enough. So really, you should be able to explain that proof why, for example, certain problems are undecidable. You should be able to show that proof to us. So if we gave you the task, this is a problem. Explain to us, is that decidable by a Turing machine or isn't it? And if so, why? In both cases. So either because it is, or because or either if it is, or either if it's not. So you need to have those proofs as well. Those need to be part of your study program. Same goes for non-determinism. We're not talking about that you have heard that there is something like non-determinism, or that you have seen a couple of non-deterministic algorithms, but the important thing is that you are able to prove, for example, that a non-deterministic Turing machine and a deterministic Turing machine have the same capabilities regarding decidability and computational theory, but that they are different, for example, in runtime behavior. And then we come to the next point in this list here, and that's NP completeness, because you should be able not only to say, yeah, there is the class of P and the class of NP, and explain what those classes are, why are they called P and NP, what does it mean? Of course, that's the basics, but then there are the interesting questions, and those are, on the one hand, you need to be able to prove that there are NP complete problems. And you should, for example, know the theorem by Cook-Levin, or Cook's theorem. It's sometimes also simply called. You should be able to explain that proof to us. For example, you should be able to show us a reduction. How do we if we have a certain problem here, like, for example, coloring a vertex cover problem, for example, or graph coloring problem, and then we say, all right, can you reduce satisfiability problem for logical formulas? Can you reduce that onto the coloring problem, for example, or vice versa. So you should be able to do those proofs, for example, and of course you should know how to tackle those problems, because they are difficult to solve, obviously. And then you sometimes need approximation algorithms, and again, you should be able, of course, to explain those algorithms as well, but that's kind of like the easier part. The most important part is exactly those proofs as well. Also, you should know randomized algorithms, but again, a course really needs to concentrate on those topics in order to count for us to theoretical computer science. And if it's just one or two lessons within a larger course where you talked about randomized quicksort, for example, then that's simply not enough. So that's important to keep in mind. Theoretical computer science is something very, very important. And as I said, we always take a look, we have quite a bit of experience with now a couple of thousand applications that we have reviewed over the last couple of, I've been doing this now for 8 years now, and we've had more than 7,000 applications reviewed. So we know quite a few of the names of those courses. So if you look into your bachelor program, you'll probably find something like design and analysis of algorithms, and you might find a course like data structures or data structures and algorithms maybe. Those would definitely count towards theoretical computer science. But usually those courses together are not enough, because they only yield maybe, like, even after conversion, maybe 12, maybe 15 credits, but not the 20 that are required. So there needs to be at least one more course in most bachelor programs, at least. Yours might be different, but in most cases that's what we have encountered, what we have noticed. And so basically, usually there's at least one more course required in your program, which might be, for example, called Automata Theory and Formal Languages, or it might be called Theory of Computation. And also a course named Discrete Structures may count towards theoretical computer science. Again, there it's important to include a module description for us so that we can really check. Because otherwise, and in particular, if a course is not called Discrete Structures, but Discrete Mathematics, which is very similar in name, but is very different in content usually. But again, if at your university you believe that Discrete Mathematics is exactly what I just described as theoretical computer science, make sure to include the module description so that we can check the course, and then we can see whether we agree or don't agree to that. And usually discrete mathematics would be a course that counts towards mathematical foundations, whereas on the other hand, discrete structures would, again, probably be a course that counts towards theoretical computer science. To make sure that we make the right decision, please include the module description or the course description of those courses, and then everything should be fine, at least if we agree. All right. Courses that often, when we get complaints and people say, oh, please do a reassessment of my application, I have had this and this and this course in my program as well, and but you didn't recognize those for theoretical computer science, but they are theoretical computer science. And that's where we usually say, no, it's not, because I have already argued for compiler design. That's in most cases, that's in fact not theoretical computer science. Again, if you believe it is, include a module or course description, and we'll check that. Courses on artificial intelligence and data science, we never count towards theoretical computer science. They may be very theoretical, but it's not theoretical computer science. So there's lots of theories around, but that's not theoretical computer science. And also cryptography. Cryptography could theoretically, again, also be counted towards theoretical computer science, but in only the rarest of cases we have encountered that this is really true. In most cases, you learn cryptographic applications, for example. You learn about several methods, how to encrypt things, or how to decrypt things, maybe. But usually it's not theoretical computer science. Again, if you believe that your cryptography course is theoretical in the sense that I just described, then make sure to include a course description in this case as well. So those basically are the important things that we check for your background on computer science. So this is the one big thing that we check, because, as I said, we believe that you need to have this background in order to be able to pass to complete the master program at some point in time. Because our lecturers basically assume that you know all these things. So if you visit a course here, for example, on advanced algorithms, then nobody will explain to you what a Turing machine is, for example, or nobody will explain to you how to do a performance proof of performance, something like that, for an algorithm. And you need to know the mathematics. If you have a new algorithm, you're presented with a new algorithm that you have never seen before, then you should be able to do a runtime analysis, performance analysis of this algorithm. And we simply expect that you know the mathematics, how to do that. So that's important to keep in mind. And same goes, for example, if you we also have advanced cryptography courses in our master program, for example. And there again, it is you will not be taught the basics of mathematics on how to prove that a certain cryptographic method, for example, has certain properties or something like that. So that's important. That's why it's so important that you have this background, you bring along this background, and you can use this background. So it's not just that you have heard this at some point in some time back a couple of years ago, but you still need to be able to, of course, you can't have everything in your head at one point in a time, but you need to be able to reactivate that knowledge when required, or teach yourself how to do it in a certain situation. So that's very important to keep in mind. All right, so that's the background related to, which is specifically related to computer science. If you go into another study program, like for example, if you also apply for the computer engineering program here with us, they have different regulations there. And of course, they need a different background, because computer engineering, in our terminology, as I said, in accordance with what the ICM and IEEE are considering to be computer engineering, there's electrical engineering involved. So that's why they also check a background in electrical engineering. But for them, for example, the theoretical computer science part is less important. So if your program was rather on the technical side and not so much on the theoretical side, then it might be worthwhile considering to apply for computer engineering instead of applying for computer science. Because in computer science, we'll probably reject your application because there's not enough theoretical computer science there, assuming that's the case, of course. But then you might have a strong background, for example, in electrical engineering, and then they would accept you into their program, while we would reject you. And of course, you know that there's lots of universities where you can apply. Each and every university has their own regulations. So even if we reject your application, another university might accept it. Though I know that many universities have pretty similar criteria for with regards to this computer science background that I just described. But there are universities that handle it differently, and in particular, universities of applied sciences. I'm not sure if you are aware of the difference. There's universities, and there's universities of applied sciences. And for some universities, it's difficult to tell, but because, for example, the Technical University Dortmund is called Technical University, but it's a kind of real university. It's not a university of applied sciences. It's a full university. For example, the RWTH in Aachen, Rheinisch-Westfälische Technische Hochschule, even doesn't call itself university in German. It's called Rheinisch-Westfälische Technische Hochschule. So, and Hochschule is not high school. Hochschule is, in fact, university. So that's also a full university, for example. But there are other universities which explicitly have the name. In German, they are called Hochschule, usually, which makes things so confusing even in the German language. And in English, they usually call themselves Hochschule, University of Applied Sciences. So if you see that, then that's a good sign that because they're called applied sciences, that's why they usually have less strict regulations on theoretical computer science. They might also expect some background there as well, but not as much as we do at most universities. So always consider when applying, because most of you, which is absolutely makes sense, are applying to more than just one university, and you might want to include at least one University of Applied Sciences as well, just to increase your chances of being accepted. Maybe not at the university you want to go. You would love to go in the first place, which is of course us. But maybe you can, if we reject you, maybe you would be accepted at another university. And in particular, if the reason for rejection from us would be theoretical lack of background in theoretical computer science, then you would probably have good chances still in a University of Applied Sciences, and they might say, yeah, it's absolutely fine with us. There is some background in theoretical computer science, maybe not as much as you in Paderborn. So we expect there to be, but for a University of Applied Sciences, it might be well enough, because they look for other things. As I said, that's why they're called University of Applied Sciences. They want to apply those things and not do so much theory about it, which is what universities, at least in Germany, usually do. All right, so that's the background in computer science. Then there's the second big area, and now we're coming to this point that I mentioned earlier, that more than half of the applications that we reject are being rejected for one simple reason, and that's the one which is coming up right now. And that is, your grade will be checked. And the grade means the overall grade of your bachelor program. I shouldn't say first that you can apply without having completed your bachelor program already, but in that case we can only put your application on hold. So we're not able to complete the review. We can only do that once we receive your final bachelor degree, basically the certificate, or at least a document, an official document by your university that states the final CPGA. CGPA, sorry, your CGPA. That's the important thing. We need that at some point in time, and only when we have that, we can complete the review of your bachelor of your application. Before that, we can only put it on hold, which is fine for us, but it will just lie around, and you won't get any reaction from us because we simply can't complete the evaluation, and then we don't even touch it usually because there's nothing we can do anyways. You have handed in your application in time, so you did it early enough, and then you can send your final documents, the final CGPA, or your final degree certificates, and you should send that directly to us in that case, and ideally as soon as possible. So that's always the good idea. So as soon as you receive it, just send an email to us. You don't have, you can send it directly to us. You can hand it into UniAssist as well, which makes sense if you have applied at multiple universities. But if you have just applied with us or only want to send us that document, then you can also send it directly to us. The email address is on in the first link below this website. There's the link to the study service, and there's an email address given there, and then you can send your documents there. All right, so the first thing about your grade, it needs to be 3.0 or better on the German scale. The German scale is upside down, so the lower the number, the better the grade, and that's contrary to most other countries in the world. I'm aware of that, but that's the way it is. So your degree must have a low value in German. 1 is the best, 1.0 is the best. You can't be better than 1.0 in the German system. And 4.0 would be the minimum grade to pass in the German system. But if someone passes their bachelor degree, even our own students with a 4.0 or even with a 3.2 or 3.1, we would not accept them into our master program. So it has to be 3.0 or better. And this value or better is an important thing, because we'll come back to that in a moment, because in a moment we'll hear about a different form, a different kind of phrasing things, and that's important. It's a seemingly minor detail, but it's a very important detail. So the question now is, how can you calculate your grade in the German system? Because we sometimes receive questions like, I have a degree of 3.67, is that good enough? And the answer is simple that we can give in that situation. The only answer we can give is we don't know. Because as you can see here in this table over here, there's a couple of things we need to, there's 3 bits of information that you need in order to calculate your grade in the German system, and you can do that yourself. There's this link up there, it's also a link below this video, so you can click there, and then you have to enter 3 bits of information. The first thing is, what is the maximum grade at your university? Is it 4? Is it 10? Is it 1,750? Whatever it is. Then you need to enter the minimum passing grade at your university. Like, for example, the degree, we have 4 examples here in this list, and the first person here in this list has a degree of, you need a 2, at least 2 in CGPA in order to pass the program, or it might be 2.2, or it might be on a scale from 1 to 10, it might be a 5, or it might be a 4. And depending on that value, different results come out of the whole thing. And the third thing you need to enter is, of course, your own grade that you achieved. So the person here on the left, for example, has a 3 in 3.0 or something like that. The next one is 2.94. And on that scale, with 2.94 on a scale where you need at least 2.2 and you can get a maximum of 4, in that case, 2.94 would be good enough because it's 2.767. So all of the examples here, all of the students here have good enough values so that they would be accepted into our program. But, and there's one major caveat here, 3 of those people need to send one additional document that is required, because if the value is 1.8 or higher, and that's the difference here. Not if the value is 1.8 or higher, then you need to send an additional document, which I'll come to in a moment. It's a GRE or a DMAT that you need in that case, a certificate. And that means with exactly 1.8, you need that. Because there's also often some kind of confusion that people don't know the difference, it seems, between less than and less than or equal. And in this case, your grade has to be, the value of your grade in the German system needs to be less than 1.8, not less or equal to 1.8. So it must be, the value must be less than 1.8. So 1.799999 is good enough. 1.8, you still need that additional document. And that additional document is one of 2 things. You only need to send one of those. You don't have to do both. One is enough. But you have to pass it, that one test. And those are 2 different tests. And you need, as I said, to pass one of them. Which one is up to you, which you wish to choose. The first one is the GRE, the Revised General Test of the Graduate Record Examinations. And as I said, if the converted value of your grade is 1.8, exactly 1.8, or higher than that, 1.8001, 1.9, 1.99, or 2.0, whatever it may be, you will need one of those 2 documents, and the GRE, or certificates. And the GRE, in the GRE, you need, there's 3 categories that you will be tested in. The GRE is kind of like a general test. It's a revised general test, that's what it's called. There's 3 categories in there, but we are only interested in 2 of them. And those 2 are quantitative reasoning, which has something to do with being able to do certain types of calculations and dealing with quantitative amounts and with numbers and so on and so forth. And there you need at least 157 points. And this is a strict rule, so if you have 156, then simply that isn't good enough, and then your application will be rejected. Even though it's only 1 point on a very, very large scale, still this threshold is really, really strict and hard. And the second part that you need is you need at least 4.0 points in the analytical writing section. And that, for most of our applicants, seems to be the harder part. And in the analytical writing, you need to read a text and then do some writing on the text, which is important because in a master program, of course, you are working in a scientific area, you're working towards being a scientist, and that means that you have to write, for example, a seminar paper during your course of studies here, that you have to write a master's thesis at some point in time. So, and writing is really important as well. And that's why this is checked as well. So 157 quantitative reasoning, 4.0 in analytical writing, those are the minimum thresholds. And if you don't hand in a GRE, you can do the digital master test, DMAT instead. But if you don't do that as well, then your application will immediately be rejected, and we won't even check for the background in specific background in computer science, because you have just been kicked out because this kind of formal or more formal thing has not been met. All right. So as I said, GRE is one option. Option number 2 is the digital master test, which is or DMAT in short, and that's a computer science specific test. So it might be that this test is more to your liking because you don't have this analytical writing part in there, for example. But it's very specific for computer science, whereas the quantitative reasoning test is like a general test, as I said. So this one is very computer science specific. And it's an alternative, and you need to decide which one of those you wish to take. Of course, you can take both, but of course then you have to pay for both, obviously. But yeah, both of those are not administered by us. Those tests, there are test centers around the world where you can do those tests. So make sure to check out in your own home country where and when the next possibility would be to do one of these tests. The GRE is being offered by more institutions, so it might be easier to come by because the GRE is accepted at many universities around the world, whereas the DMAT is something which is very specific to Germany, and not even in Germany, not all universities participate in that. All right, so that's the second important thing, and as I said, that's more than half of rejections that we have to send out are because people simply did not send the GRE or DMAT, although they had been required to send one. So it's not because their results were too bad, but really so they simply didn't send one. So please make sure that you read the prerequisites, what exactly is needed if you want to apply with us. As I said, it's on our website, and the website is below this video. Information for international students, click on that website, or look it up at the DAAD website, international programs, look for Paderborn and computer science, and you'll find it, and the same information is being given there as well. All right, and then the third aspect that we have, that is language proficiency. As I said, our master program is in English. So pretty obvious that you need to be fluent in English. And that means that usually everybody is required to send a language certificate, but there are exceptions to that. And those are whenever in your country that you are living in, English is the official language. And also the medium of instruction of your bachelor program was English. In that case, you don't need one. You don't need any language certificate. That's enough for us, because we believe then if you studied your whole program in English and also in the country that you have been doing your education in, that is an official language of the country, then that's good enough for us, and we won't check any additional background checks on language proficiency. But of course that means there is this and is printed in boldface because it's an and. It's really both parts must be true. So if you are from India, for example, that's usually the case because most Indian universities teach in English, and also the bachelor programs at least, and also English is an official language in India. If you are from Bangladesh, for example, or if you are from Syria or from Ethiopia, things are different. If you are from Nigeria, again, English is an official language in Nigeria, and the medium of instruction at Nigerian university is at least mostly, probably always English. Even the school education is in English there. So, but if you are from the US or from the UK or from Australia or New Zealand, for example, of course, this is true as well. So we won't check you're speaking much better English than we do. So why should we check that? If, on the other hand, you are from Canada, of course, in Canada, English is an official language. But if you studied in Quebec, for example, and at your university in Montreal, for example, and at your university the program was taught in French, then, unfortunately, you still have to do a language test. There's lots of different tests that we accept. So the scores here are the ones from the old system. There has been, at the TOEFL at least, there has been some updates there, and they have a different scale now, and I don't have the current values for the new scale here yet. We'll add that at some point as soon as we have reliable information on how to convert those things. But for the time being, we'll live with these data here. So if you have a paper-based TOEFL, at least 550 points. If it's an internet-based TOEFL, at least you need at least 80 points. You can use the Certificate of Advanced English CAE of the Cambridge test. It must be this one, not the Cambridge test has other ones as well, but the CAE is the important one here. And there you need at least grade B. You can take from the British Council, IELTS, there's an academic, English, somewhat academic test is the name. And then you'll need at least 6.5. But we also accept things like, for example, Duolingo with at least 105 points, which is probably the easiest way to get a language certificate, I would guess. Easy to get it, and also probably the threshold is one of the easier ones to meet. I'm guessing. I haven't taken the test and don't have any first-hand experience with any of the other tests as well. And also there's from Pearson the PTE Academic, but it must be the PTE Academic, not one of the other PTE tests, with at least, 75 points. This is just behind me here, so I need to check that over there. Sorry for being in the way of the important information. But again, this is all also listed on our website, so make sure to check out the website. So what kind of documents do you need to apply? You usually need certified copies of your school living certificate. And that must qualify you to study at a university in your home country, which you probably have because you already have a bachelor degree or are about to complete your bachelor degree, so that shouldn't be that much of a problem. You might be living or have studied in a country where you need a university entrance exam. In that case, the results are needed as well. That's just true for certain countries. In many countries, there's no such thing. Then you need officially certified copies of all other relevant documents, such as academic transcripts, the references, and the file degree certificates. So we need those, and we need those in English, obviously. It's also important. Lastly, we need a resume or a CV by you showing a complete chronological list, what you have done so far, or what your education was. That's basically everything we need to have. For us here at Paderborn, other universities might handle it differently, but for us here at Paderborn University, and in the computer science program, I should only speak for our program. Even the electrical engineering people might do things differently than we do, but we do not expect you to send any recommendation letters. They're not required. So you can simply skip that step, try to get recommendation letters or submitting them. As I said, if you're applying at multiple universities, other universities or multiple programs, other programs might expect you to send recommendation letters, so check out with them. But for us here at Paderborn University in the computer science program, you don't need any recommendation letters. All right. So once you have assembled all of your documents, what's there to do? You don't send any documents to us. Please don't. But send everything to a UniAssist. UniAssist is the people who are it's kind of yeah, it's a kind of company, it's kind of entity. They do lots of pre-processing for us, basically. So you need to log into their website, and then you'll have to pay something, and then you can apply to multiple universities or multiple programs. Of course, you basically want to apply with us, of course. As I said, you should also apply at other universities as well, or into other programs as well. And you'll find us there under application. Then you go into universities, and obviously for the master program, then you go into North Rhine-Westphalia, because that's the state we are in. So Germany is a federal country consisting of several states, like the US is, for example. And so you need to go into the state first, that's North Rhine-Westphalia, and there you'll find Paderborn University. And then you can choose the computer science program. If for some reason there's also an entry which is called Informatik, don't pick that one. There has been a program which was called Informatik, and in fact Informatik is the German translation of computer science. But there has been confusion in the past that if somebody applied for Informatik, that then in that case somebody thought that is a German-speaking program because it's a German name, that it would be a German-speaking program, and so that German language knowledge, so German language proficiency would be required, which is not, definitely not. So just make sure that you apply for computer science, then you are in the right section, so to speak. And as I said, there's no requirement of German language proficiency. You can do all your program in English here. We do recommend learning German nonetheless, either before you come here or when you are here, or even more ideally, both. You already have some training in German before you come here, and then once you are here, you improve on your German, because that will really help you. For example, if you want to find a job, either while studying or after you have completed your master program, then it will be pretty helpful if you speak at least at a certain level some German. All right. The application deadline for the summer semester, starting in April, is 30th of November, as I already mentioned right at the beginning of this live stream. So 30th of November, that is the date when you basically have to submit all of your documents. There are certain documents that you can hand in later, but please don't ask us, ask UniAssist. They can tell you by which time they need which documents at the latest. So they can tell you all of that. And they are your primary partner for communication in this first phase. And once we take over, you'll get notifications. They send you a notification that, for example, at some point in time that they have done their pre-processing and have forwarded your application to us. And then we we here at the computer science department then make do the evaluation. We evaluate your application, and then we inform our international office, which is part of our university, and they will submit the official letters of acceptance or of rejection to you. So the official notification will always come from the international office, not from us. And then you'll have more, the contact information will be given there, and also the reason for if you have been rejected, the reason for rejected. If you have been accepted, more information on the next steps you need to take in order to take up your studies then at some point in time. And as I said, if you want to defer, again, the international office are the people you need to contact in that case. All right, so that's basically all I wanted to talk about tonight. So basically everything about if you are planning to apply, what do you need to do? What are the prerequisites? What do you have to take care of? Which kinds of documents do you need? And in particular, as I said, make sure that you check if you need this GRE. The rule is simple. Check with this grade converter, and if the value is 1.8 or higher, then you need a GRE. If it's higher than 3.0, if it's 3.0, it's still okay. But if higher than 3.0, then you definitely won't be accepted. That's for sure as well. And if the value is somewhere between 1.8 and 3.0, then including 1.8 and including 3.0, in that case, you will need a GRE or a DMAT certificate, meeting the requirements of the thresholds that I mentioned earlier, and only if the value after conversion is 1.799999 or less, only then you are not required to send a GRE or DMAT. So that's basically it. That's the important information here. And as I said, send your transcripts. And in those courses where you think we might miss something, then also send us at least module. You don't have to include a complete module course descriptions of all courses that were to be studied at your university, but at least include the core one, the most important ones that you believe that are important for us judging your or evaluating your application. And then that makes things easier for all of us if you include those things, because then we can immediately see, there's a course where we're not quite sure if it's correct or not. Sometimes also the translations are strange. For example, I had a translation from some North African country. I think I guess it was from translation from French. And when I looked at the transcript, there was an entry which was chaos theory, and I thought, well, no, whatever chaos theory is. Whatever role chaos theory might play in computer science, it really doesn't. So I don't see, and I wanted to ignore that course. But then, because as I said, we need the documents in English, but because the original was in French, and I'm not really good at speaking French, but have some basic understanding at least of French words. And so I checked, because it was just strange to see something like chaos theory. Okay, it might have been that somebody studied some parts of physics, and they did something like that as part of those studies there. But still, I was confused, and so I took a look into the French original, and there I found it was in fact complexity theory, which is of course absolutely important information, because complexity theory is exactly one part of theoretical computer science, and so that student was accepted because we had a look in the French original. But if it's an original written in some language that I don't happen to understand, at least basically, then we might miss something. So that's why it's important to send all of those documents in English translations, and also in ideally good translations, and also course descriptions for those courses where you believe that we might miss something. All right. So that's it for tonight. We didn't have any questions, unfortunately, because otherwise I would have tried to answer them at least. And it's always better to have questions, because then I at least know that I'm talking about something that at least one person is interested in. And I hope that there has been something for maybe the silent witnesses here, that there has been at least something which was interesting to some of you at all, and maybe some people watch this after the fact. So just to sum things up, this was the live stream of the study service of computer science at Paderborn University, as you can read here, and we're doing this always on the third Thursday each month, almost each month I should say. And the next one will be on 20th of August, which is the third Thursday in August. But that will be the last one before the winter semester starts in October. So in September, there will be no live stream. So if you have questions, in particular, and I would concentrate on the 20th of August, I will concentrate on information for those people who have been accepted into our master program and wish to start with us, or are already planning to start with us in October. So that will be the focus in the next live stream here, definitely. Again, unless questions point me otherwise, but I guess we will have quite a few people there listening in who have been accepted and have received the official notification so that they have been accepted, and that they will then check in and see what additional information they can wish to have from us to prepare their trip to Paderborn, and to what exactly they need to know in order to start studying here with us. All right, so 20th of August is the next one for the master program. There will be another live stream for the bachelor program, but that live stream is in German and probably not that much interesting to most of you who have been listening in today. And that is always on the first Thursday each month, so that will then be the 6th of August, I think. We'll do a live stream for the bachelor program in German. And again, in September, there will also be no live stream for the bachelor program as well. So in September, there's nothing at all here from our side. All right, so that's it for tonight. Yeah, I hope you can enjoy the rest of your day. Mine is almost over because it's already evening, or evening is starting right now, and yours you might still be in the middle of the day or in the late morning or whatever, or maybe you are already in the middle of the night. Might also be the case. So regardless, enjoy the rest of your day or the rest of your night, and stay safe, stay healthy, and see you sometime soon, either in this live stream or at Paderborn University in the master program, for example, during the welcome days. Welcome days. So, see you then. Bye bye. Oh, that was the wrong button. Bye bye now.